Hello class, good day. So, I am your professor for this subject, no, criminal law 2. So, what we will do in our class is that I will just be uploading lecture videos via YouTube because it would be easier for you to access my lecture video if I will post it in my YouTube account, okay? The purpose of this is that I cannot meet you on your scheduled hour or scheduled classes because I also have a work during that time. So what we will do is that I will just upload video lectures on the topics assigned to us, and you have the time, no, or the option when to listen to my audio lectures. Okay, so I will be speaking mostly in English because I'll be handling four sections, no, two sections from Cagayan de Oro College and two sections from Orollio College. Okay, or Orollio University, I'm sorry. Orollio University is located somewhere in Metro Manila, I guess. No, I think because when I visited Manila last December, I saw the campus near, I don't know. I think it's really in Manila. Correct me if I'm wrong. So some of my students speaks in Visayan, some also speaks in Tagalog or Filipino, and in my previous lecture videos, um, I gave examples via using the vernacular, but I cannot do it because it would be unfair for my students who are Tagalog speaking individual to listen to a lecture in given in Visayan. However, if I need to emphasize, no, I will translate, no, the examples in English to Visayan, or English to Visayan, then English to Tagalog if I really need to, because there are technical terms that I need to explain and expound to you because based on my experience teaching, there are so many terminologies, no, legal terminologies that are new to the students. And I don't know if it's because of your laziness or because of their being lazy, they don't understand the word. Although the word is already defined in the dictionary, or if you search it in Google, you can find the meaning of it. But let's not waste our time. No, I'll just explain it to the best of my ability, so that your tuition fee will be worth it. Okay. We will have a what do you call, meeting, no, on a Sunday. I'll try to set a meeting this coming Sunday or this coming Saturday, no, so that we still have the opportunity to meet. Although you can freely ask me any question via messenger, that is very important that is why it is very important that you are already a member of our GC, so that I will reply to your queries in the GC. If there are some topics or there are some area that you are confused or you cannot understand, please do ask me in our group chat, no, in our sections group chat, because I remember, no, during one of the evaluation, one of my students gave an evaluation that I am not available for consultation, which is untrue, because you can always message me via Facebook, no, using our GC, because as I said, as I mentioned earlier, I am also a work full time, no, public employee, so, or government employee. So it would be very very difficult for me to meet you on your scheduled hour, because your classes are scheduled during a work day. So too much for that, no. This For this video lecture or audio lecture, we will be focusing on your module 1, which is the crime of treason and espionage. In criminal law too, no, what is the most important thing is for us to familiarize the elements of the crime, because all our topic, no, in criminal law too revolves on the elements of the crime. What do you mean to say elements of the crime? Elements of the crime are the things that or the actions done by a person that constitute the crime. For example, in the crime of murder, when do you say that a person committed murder? When do you say the person committed a homicide? When do you say that a person committed parricide? Okay, those are the same act of killing, but there are some certain elements that makes it distinct from one another, or from other crimes. Okay, so each crime has its own element, and that is the things that we need to discuss and the things that you need to familiarize. Except for those very exceptional few individual who has photographic memory, I think it's very impossible for a person to memorize every crime and their elements. No, it's like you're memorizing the entire criminal law too, no, or the entire half or more than, I think 80%, no, 80% of the revised penal code. If you have that photographic memory, then I advise you to memorize. But if you don't have that photographic memory, please familiarize each and every element. Okay, so now first we discuss the crime of treason. Okay, before proceeding, another anecdote lang, no, a story lang. Last week, no, I got a chance to speak with the chief of police in our municipality here in Mambahaw, Camiguin, no. We talked about some certain matters, and he raised as an issue that most of his personnel, no, who are policemen, no, or most of the policemen that he worked with, really have a difficulty in preparing a complaint, no, a complaint affidavit, because sooner or later, no, in God's grace, you will be all you all pass the licensure examination for criminology students, and no, you will join the PNP force, no, you will be part of your sorry for that intermission. Okay, part of your job is to prepare complaint affidavit, no, if you want to file a case against someone. Let me pause for a while. Sorry, I was just interrupted by someone. No, okay. As I mentioned, no, as raised by the chief of police, most of his staff, no, have difficulty in preparing a complaint affidavit, and I told him I attribute that fact to the reason or base. I attribute it to the fact that most of the police, no, or most of the students don't know the elements of the crime. Okay, because if you don't know the elements of the crime, then you will really have a difficult time preparing a complaint, because you are supposed to put in your complaint affidavit all of the elements of the crime, no, like for example, you will prepare a complaint affidavit for rape, then all the elements of rape should be mentioned in your complaint affidavit. But if you don't know the elements of rape, then you will have a difficulty in preparing a complaint affidavit. That is the reason why, you need to really understand and familiarize all the elements of the crimes that are part of our core syllabus. Okay, although there are some crimes, no, that we don't dwell so much, but Because, like for example, this treason and espionage, I don't think in your entire career, no, you will be able to prepare a complaint affidavit for this, or you will encounter a crime involving treason or espionage. I hope not. But during this time, no, I don't think we will be able to experience war, no, with another country. So I hope, no, I hope that you will not have the opportunity to prepare a what you call this, a complete affidavit on treason or espionage. Okay, so I just would like to emphasize again that you need to familiarize all the elements of the crimes that we are going to discuss. Familiarize, no? You need to understand, no, what is this crime all about. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to discuss is treason. So what is treason? Okay, let me read first the elements and then I'll try to explain it to you. Okay, first element. Okay, first element of the crime is that the offender owes allegiance to the government of the Philippines. Second, that there is a war, in in which the Philippines is involved. The third element is that the offender either levies war against the government or adheres to the enemies by giving them aid and comfort. Okay? So we have only three elements. Okay? First element pa lang, no? First element pa lang. Before kasi, my classes in online class started around 5:30 to 9:30. So I have the time to discuss, no, and do oral recitation during the scheduled time. But with the new scheduling pattern, I don't have the time to conduct recitations. And most of my students already don't understand the first element, no? That the offender owes allegiance to the government of the Philippines. First pa lang, okay? First pa lang, hindi na nila na-explain what is allegiance. Even though that is part of your course syllabus or of your module. It was discussed there. But I don't think that they comprehended the word allegiance, okay? The key word for the first element is that the offender owes allegiance, okay? Owes allegiance to whom or to where? To the Republic of the Philippines, okay? What is allegiance, okay? It is an obligation of fidelity and obedience. Ibig sabihin, you are need to be loyal, okay? You need to be loyal and obedient. Obviously, as a Filipino person, no, you are a Filipino citizen, no, you owe allegiance to the Republic of the Philippines because you lived here. You experience the comfort, you experience the public service rendered by the public officers and employees of the Republic of the Philippines. So, because of those services, because of those protections that you got from the Republic of the Philippines, you owe to be obedient and loyal. Dapat kang maging masunurin, dapat kang maging, I don't know what is loyal in Tagalog, but in Bisaya, it's dapat kang, ano ba yung loyal? Basta, I know you understand what is loyalty mean, no? You need to be committed to someone. In this case, you need to be committed to your own country. Dapat maging makabayan ka, no? That is allegiance. You have the obligation to be loyal, to be obedient to the Republic of the Philippines. Now, the law used the word the offender. It did not say Filipino, no? Or like a Filipino who owes allegiance. So meaning it's not only Filipino people or Filipinos who owes allegiance to the Republic of the Philippines. Now, it begs the question, who other individuals owes allegiance to the Republic of the Philippines? The simple answer is the foreigners or the foreign individuals who sojourns, that's a legal term, but sojourns, other meaning, lives in the country. Okay, yung mga foreigner na nakatira sa Pilipinas, katong mga foreigner na nakapuyo sa Pilipinas, they too owe allegiance to the Republic of the Philippines, although they are not Filipino nationals. But since they are living here, they are enjoying the peace and order. They are enjoying the system of governance, no? They are enjoying the natural resources. They are enjoying the country in its all glory, no? They owe it to the to the Republic of the Philippines to be loyal because they are living here, even though they are not Filipino, but they have enjoyed themselves here in the Philippines, no? So when an individual, a foreigner, lives here in the Philippines, automatically they are protected by our laws. Okay, and because of that, they need to reciprocate. Anong ibig sabihin ng reciprocate? They need to parang bayad utang, no? They need to pay. They need to pay the Republic of the Philippines because they are protected by our laws. Then they need to pay it with their allegiance, their loyalty, and their obedience. Okay, so that is what we mean that the offender owes allegiance to the government of the Philippines. Okay, klaro yun ha. First, anong ibig sabihin ng allegiance? Second, sino ang may obligasyon to be loyal and obedient to the Republic of the Philippines. First, Filipino people, whether they are staying or living here in the Philippines, as long as they are Filipino citizen. So, yung mga kakilala nyo, mga relatives nyo na mga Pinoy na nakatrabaho sa ibang bansa, they still owe allegiance to the Republic of the Philippines. Okay? Second is those foreigners sojourning here in our country or those foreigners living in our country. Okay? The next element is that there is a war in which the Philippines is involved. That is quite self-explanatory. Ngayon, tatanungin ko kayo, are we involved in a war? No? Are we involved in a war? Some of my students in the past said yes. Anong war pinagsasabi nyo? No? They said that there is a war that is happening in somewhere in Basilan. That's not a war, no? That is just an internal conflict. War, in its technical sense, is that an armed disagreement. Arm, no? Parang weapon. May weapon or there is a armed disagreement between two countries, no? When you say war, it involves two countries. Like for example, just an example, if our relationship relationship with China becomes sour, okay? Ibig sabihin, parang nagkagalit na tayo ng China, no? Nagkagalit na tayo sa China because of that partly island issues or whatever issue it may be, and our disagreement escalated into war, no? Then that's the time that we want that the person can commit treason, because one of the element of treason is that there is a war in which the Philippines is involved. Okay, so the question is, during this time, like right now, can you commit treason? Most of my students answered yes. Obviously, you cannot commit treason right now because we are not in a state of war. Okay? We are not in a state of war. It is the Senate who has the authority to declare the state of war. The absence of any declaration, from the proper authorities, then we are not in war. And because we are not yet, and hopefully not in war in a long period of time, no, we cannot commit treason, because you cannot commit treason in time of peace. I emphasize it because most of your exams, no, I've reviewed also some of your exams during the board exam. This is one of the favorite questions. Okay, one of the favorite questions in the board exam relating to treason. If one person can commit treason during a time of peace, you cannot commit treason in a time of peace. Okay, and the last element is that the offenders either meaning ibig sabihin he can do either, or there are two acts, no? There are two acts punishable. Either meaning, ano ba yun sa Tagalog or sa Bisaya? Kung sa Bisaya pa na, pwede bisan asa, no? That's the Visayan term, either. Pwede bisan asa. In Tagalog, I don't know. But either, I'm sure you are in your third year college. I think you already encountered the word either. So, you explain it to your language. I'm sorry, my Tagalog is bad, okay? So, nevertheless, there are two acts, no, to be considered treasonous acts. The first act is levies war against the government. Anong ibig sabihin ng levies war? Levies war, it means that you started a war against your government, no? You raised arm. Okay, you raised arm against your own government. Like for example, if a Filipino person, no, in times of, for example, this is just an hypothetical situation. If we are at war with China, okay, if we are at war with China, and then me or I as a Filipino individual gather hundreds of individual sorry, and gave them Armalite. Okay, give them Armalite, hand grenades, or whatever weapon that can be used against the Republic of the Philippines. And those people were gathered, no, for the purpose of helping our enemy country. And then that's levies war, or levies war against the government. You assemble, no, the key word here is assemble of men, no. Gumawa ka ng grupo para, or gumawa ka ng grupo against, no, kontra sa gobyerno. Okay, that is levies war. Aid and comfort naman is that by giving aid and comfort, hindi ibig sabihin na you will be held guilty for the crime of treason if you give individual armed power, no. Even if hindi mo inassemble, hindi ka gumawa ng mga battalion of army mo against the Republic of the Philippines, you can still be held liable for treason by helping the enemy country, by giving them aid and support. Like for example, if we are at war with China and you are a millionaire, you have money, you gave money to the Chinese government. Obviously, that is in aid. You are aiding them. You are giving them financial aid, financial comfort. No, that is still held treason, or that is still considered treasonous. Or for example, you own a landed estate. No, you own a vast land. No, and that vast land, you willingly offered it to the enemy country as their campsite, no, as their, ano bang term dyan, parang kampo nila, no, their parang camp nila, so ginawa nilang camp yun. So that is aiding them by giving them that is also treasonous through aid and comfort, or to giving them aid and comfort. Okay, so yun lang, very simple. Treason, that's treason. First, that the offender owes allegiance to the government. Offender meaning a Filipino citizen, whether he is living in or outside the Philippines, or a foreigner who is living here in the Philippines. Number two, that there is a war in which the Philippines is involved. Again, during this time, no, at this very moment, we are not at war. So automatically, we cannot commit treason. But if and only if we are at war with another country, I would like to emphasize that, then you can commit treason. Okay? Number 3, you either, that the offender either levies war against the government by assembling men and giving them, the purpose of assembling them is to overthrow or to attack the government, to attack our military forces or to counter our military forces. Okay? And the other act is that you gave them aid and comfort. Any action that will favor our enemy country can be considered giving them aid and comfort. Those three elements should concur for you to commit treason. Anong ibig sabihin ng concur, attorney? Dapat yung tatlo, sila lahat nandun. Okay? Dapat ikaw may obligation to be loyal and obedient to the Republic of the Philippines. Dapat may war. Dapat din nag-aid and support ka or nag-aid and comfort ka sa enemy country, or nag-assemble ka ng you assemble men to counter our armed forces. If may isa dun na absent, like for example, the most common na element na absent is the absence, or the second element, that is there, if there is a war in which the Philippines is involved, then you cannot commit treason. Okay? Klaro yun. Now, another favorite exam question is this: how to prove treason? There are two ways to prove treason. You need to take note. First is that the two-witness rule, which means two witnesses testifying to the same overt act. Two-witness rule, okay? This two witnesses testifying to the same overt act. Like for example, person A witness person X assembling men, nag-assemble siya ng mga tao para kontra gobyerno ng Pilipinas. Okay? Person A saw person X assembling men to counter our armed forces. Person B saw person X giving money to the enemy to our enemy country. Now the question is, based on the testimony of A and B, ang testimony ni A na si X nag-assemble ng men, si B nag-testify naman na si X nagbigay ng money sa enemy country. Based on the testimony of A and B, can X be held guilty for treason? The answer is no. Okay? The answer is no. You cannot make person X guilty for treason because under our two-witness rule, the two witnesses should saw, the same or should witness the same overt act. Dapat si A and B nakita niya nag-assemble or nag-assemble of men si X. Dapat or si A and B nakita niya nagbigay ng pera si X sa enemy country. Okay? The same overt act. Okay? For example naman, si A nakita niya si X na nag-assemble ng man. The same in a different scenario naman, nakita niya naman si A, nakita niya naman si X na nagbigay ng aid and comfort sa ating enemy. Can X be held liable or guilty for the crime of treason? The answer is no. Although A or witness two different overt acts, two different overt acts, the law requires two witnesses. Okay? So paano maging guilty si X? Dapat A and B saw X giving money to the enemy's country. So same overt act, same circumstance. Dalawang tao ang nakakita ng dalawang tao nakakita ng the same act, treasonous act, para siya maging guilty for the crime of treason. That is under two-witness rule. Okay? That is the first way of proving treason. The second way of proving treason is confession of the accused in open court. Ano naman tong confession of the accused in open court? Meaning, pag si X, no, yung um, sinumbong for treason, or sa X who was accused for treason, when he is presented in court, he openly admitted in court that he is guilty of any acts constituting treason. Okay? So, in open court, the keyword is open court. So for example, si A, no, or si X, in-interview ni Tulfo, no, sabi ni Tulfo, ikaw X, guilty ka ba sa treason? Guilty ka ba? Totoo ba na nagbigay ka ng armas sa ating mga kalabang Chino? Okay, sabi ni Tulfo. Then in his program, sabi naman ni X na yes, I admit doing it. So I am guilty for the crime of treason. Now, based on that testimony, can X be held guilty for treason? No. The answer is no, because X did not confess the crime of treason in open court. Nag-confess siya sa private individual. Nag-confess siya sa hindi naman hurado. Nag-confess siya outside of court, no? So, kailan ba pwede mag-confess si person X or si the accused? During the pre-trial, trial stage, or the pre-trial and the arraignment, pre-trial, and the trial stage, yung tatlong stages. This arraignment, pre-trial, and trial is part of your criminal procedure. I don't know if you already finished with your criminal procedure subject, but those are the court proceedings, no? Those are court proceedings under our criminal procedure. Hindi ko na lang i-explain, baka kasi if I'm going to explain what is arraignment, pre-trial, and trial, it will take us another day, to finish, because that's a quite long discussion. Okay, so yun, you need to remember the two ways of proving the crime of treason: two witness rule, and then confession in open court. Okay. Going back to the first element, no? Di ba sabi ko, sino ang who owes allegiance to the Philippine government? First is those the Filipino people or the Filipino citizen, and those foreigners who are sojourning or living here in the Philippines. In other words, if you are a Filipino citizen, you can commit treason whether you are in the Philippines or outside the Philippines. But if you are a foreigner, you can only commit treason if you are in the Philippines. Okay, going back on your concept sa criminal law 1, which is territoriality principle, the territoriality principle. Our criminal laws is only limited within the territorial jurisdiction of the Philippines, di ba? Yun ang sabi ng territoriality principle, that our criminal law can only be enforced within the territorial jurisdiction of the Philippines. Outside our territory, hindi na natin pwede i-enforce ang ating criminal law. But may mga exemptions, di ba? One of which is treason. For example, Pilipino ka, isa kang Pinoy, pumunta ka ng USA or kahit anong lugar, or kahit anong bansa, outside the Philippines, outside the Philippine territory, and you committed acts, treasonous acts, you can still be held liable. Okay? You can still be held liable. But if you are a foreigner, and you commit treasonous acts out against the Philippine Republic, or the government, the Republic of the Philippines, if you are a foreigner and you committed treasonous acts against the Philippine government outside the Philippines, you cannot be held liable for treason. For the simple reason that if a foreigner lives outside the Philippines, he does not owe allegiance to the Philippine government, no? So, balik na naman tayo sa first element. Kasi sabi ko nga, if you are a foreigner, you owe allegiance if nakatira ka sa Pilipinas. Kasi if you are a foreigner, you live here in the Philippines, you are protected by our laws. But if you are a foreigner and you live outside the Philippines, hindi ka na sakop ng Pilipinas. Wala ka ng obligasyon to be loyal and to be obedient to the Philippines. Okay? You need to remember that. The distinction between a Filipino and a foreigner. Okay. Next. May tinatawag tayong conspiracy and proposal to commit treason. Conspiracy, ang ibig lang sabihin, two or more person agreed to commit the crime of treason. Okay? May dalawang tao na nagkasundo, no? Duha ka tao nagkasinabot nga magbuhat og treasonous act. Okay? So that is conspiracy to commit treason. Or proposal to commit treason, ako, no? I propose it to someone. I told someone to or I convince someone, I convince other people, I convince a group of individual to commit treason against the Philippine government, then I am already guilty of committing proposal to commit treason. Yun lang. I will not discuss the elements because these are not so important crimes. Then misprision of treason, no? Misprision of treason. What you need to remember here is that the person or the offender knows or that there is a conspiracy to commit treason against the government, no? Parang ikaw, no? Ikaw may knowledge ka na may mga grupo na mga tao na nagpaplano ng treasonous acts against the Philippine government, and you withheld that information. Ibig sabihin, hindi mo sinumbong sa proper authority, then you are guilty of the crime of misprision of treason. Okay? You have the knowledge that someone conspires to commit treason against the Philippine government, and yet you failed to report it to the proper authority, then you are guilty of misprision of treason. Misprision of treason. Yun nga. Next, espionage. Okay, espionage. This is very short lang na discussion. What is espionage? Parang spy, no? You consider yourself as a spy. Okay? Spy of the enemy country. Okay? Para kang spy. Mga sino ba yan? Mission Impossible, no? Mission Impossible na movie, yun si Tom Cruise naging spy, no? Something like that. This is espionage. But espionage, there are two kinds of espionage. First is that a private person, no, or offender enters into the following places. Warship of the Philippines, no? Obviously, Philippines to na set up. Warship, fort, naval or military establishment, reservation to obtain, or military reservation. So parang yung mga para for the purpose of national defense, no? Places for national defense. And the purpose, pumasok ka doon and you are not authorized, and your purpose is to gather information against the Philippine government or against the Philippines. So, parang spy, di ba? Yung pumasok ka sa military facility and then you retrieve some important military informations, no, na para magamit sa war, then you are guilty of espionage. And then the other form of espionage is that if you are a public officer, so like for example, you are a military officer, a police officer, or an army, navy, no, na officer, public officer, and then you have because of your work, because of your position, no, because of your position, because of your position as a public officer, you have you have access to military information, and you disclose it to the foreign nation or enemy country, then you have committed espionage also. Okay, so parang spy. A spy, pwedeng private individual, no, na pumasok sa mga military or national defense facility ng Pilipinas, national defense facilities of the Philippines. Pumasok ka doon unauthorized, and the purpose of you entering is to gather military information. Or you can also be held guilty liable of espionage if you are a public officer, and because of your position, you are in possession. Because of your position, you were able to possess, no, military intelligence or intelligence na mga military intelligence or military information, and you disclose it, no, you disclose it to our enemy country, then you are guilty of espionage. Okay, so yun lang, that's module 1. I hope you learned something. If I'm fast in explaining, no, you have the opportunity to replay it, because this will be uploaded in my YouTube channel. Okay, that would be all for module 1.